Hey everybody, welcome to the Speakeasy Brew. I'm Austin. Today is a busy day. We've got about 19 minutes before I can, well, I shouldn't say we got 19 minutes before I could get going, but today we're kegging beer. If you're interested in beer, drinking beer, beer reviews, kegging beer, brewing beer, anything that involves beer, and eventually wine and liquor and cocktails, this is the channel for you. Right now, what I've got here is the last remnants of my what I call the Southern Comfort Amber Ale, and it was an amber ale that I created to. I was trying to copy the sweet tea that you get down in the southern part of the United States. It didn't work out as well as I had hoped, but it was still very delicious. The only thing that kind of seemed somewhat of a bummer was the fact that the tea didn't really come out as much as I wanted it to. However, that being said, one thing that I did notice is that as I let it sit in the keg for about a month or so, that over time it matured and it started to release more of a floral flavor that it was kind of what I was shooting for. It wasn't so much the tea, like the black tea feel, and it wasn't as clean as I was hoping for it to be, but otherwise it was still a pleasant beer to drink. So that was really exciting. So anyways, finishing up the rest of it today. I dumped the very, very last parts out, and which is why it's a little hazy. I don't know if you could tell. When I did the beer review initially on this particular beer that I brewed, I showed you guys that it was super clear. The reason it's a little hazy is because the yeast from the beer was kind of at the base of the fermenter, so not the fermenter, the keg. So as I was dumping it out and filling up my cup, it stirred up a lot of that yeast, and that yeast got in my cup. But yeast is not bad to drink, so don't worry about it. If you ever have a beer and you have a little bit of yeast in it, it is not something to consider like a bad thing. It's okay to drink it. Might look a little gross, but honestly, it's not bad. It's just going to look like sediment floating around. It's actually really good for your gut biome. If you're looking for an excuse to how beer might be good for you, that would be one of them. Anyways, today, like I said, we're kegging beer. I'm just going to show you real quick. So one thing is I'm using a new streaming software. So I'm using Streamlabs right now. So we're going to just see how that goes today. Yeah, I'm excited about it. So I'm just interested to see how it turns out. I spent probably like 4 hours trying to set this whole program up to be ready to do the keg for you guys today, the kegging stream for you all today. So let me show you guys what I've got going on. Do forgive me, my kitchen is a mess, but that is the life of one who has lots of projects. And it's mostly my wife and I doing projects. We've got a bunch of fruit and veggies and stuff from our garden and whatnot, but let me show you guys what we got going on here today. So here are my two kegs. This one's brand new. This is one I bought about a week or two ago, maybe a month actually. Man, time flies. And this is the older keg that I've got. You'll see they're full of fluid right now. If you're used to my channel, you hear me talk about cleaning and sanitizing your equipment or anything that's going to be touching beer. So what I have in these kegs right now is PBW, and PBW is a cleaner. It's an oxidizing agent, and it's to help kind of get the gunk off. So the new keg has not touched beer or anything that would be necessarily dirty, but since it's a new keg, I'm letting it sit in this cleaner for about an hour, which it's down to 15 minutes, and the whole reason is to get any of the machining oil off, or any of the welding gunk off that's left over, anything that might be left over from the creation of this particular product in the machine shop. So that's what we're doing. We're just letting it soak. And then I did do some reading about the fact that you want to let it sit for a whole hour. Usually about 30 minutes is good to kind of get the gunk off. But I'm letting it sit for a whole hour because I was told and found and had read that you want to somehow like seal the metal, the stainless steel with the PBW to prevent it from like oxidizing. I don't know, but that's just what I read. So that's why I'm letting it sit for an hour, not that big of a deal. When I dump these things out, I've got all the components in it. So the nut and valve for the inlet and outlet, as well as the rod that goes all the way to the bottom of the keg. I'll show you all the components. And then, so that's what I got. I got it all sitting here. Once I dump this out and get it all rinsed off, because the other thing too is once you have PBW, you want to rinse it off. And I do a good solid rinse 3 different times. So I'll like rinse everything off, shake it around, dump it out, rinse it again, do the same thing, and do that at least 3 times for each keg that I'm going to be doing, just to get the PBW off. And then we're going to go in and fill it with water, and we're going to sanitize it. We're going to fill 1 keg at a time, and then we're just going to take the Star San from that keg and move it to the next keg. It's all about efficiency, and it's all about saving on resources and money. And then what we're going to do is we're going to force the Star San out of each keg, or out of the 1 keg into the other, and from the last keg into the bucket, using CO2. Another reason why we'd be using CO2 to push that out forcefully is to also fill the canister full of CO2. So that when we're pouring the beer in, or transferring the beer from the fermenter into the keg, it's not being exposed to as much oxygen. And then it's just being filled up with CO2, which is great, because as soon as we close everything up, we're going to fill it full of CO2 anyways, and we're going to pressurize that CO2. That pressurization of the CO2, so we're going to basically force carbonate our beer. We can speed up the carbonation process by increasing the amount of pressure of CO2 that we put into the keg and shaking it around pretty violently and that kind of thing, and then releasing it and doing it again. But today we're going to put the beer in, we're going to put it under pressure. I'm going to take an initial sample of the beer just because I want to taste what it's going to taste like, and then we're going to go from there. Kegging honestly is my favorite way to go. There's only one thing that I don't like about kegging, and it's the fact that I cannot drink a whole keg myself in the amount of time that I should finish the beer. So light beers like Pilsners or Kolsches or even IPAs, when those particular beers are kegged, all of my reading has shown me that about 1 to 2 months max for the beer to be in the keg. Any other ale, amber ale or stouts or things like that, so they can last up to 3 to 6 months. So, but it's a good excuse to have parties, have people over, have people try and drink my beer, give myself some good feedback, and find out whether what I did was good, what I did was not good. Also gives me a lot more of a chance to kind of get an idea of what it's going to be like one day when I have a brewery. You know, because when I have a brewery, everything's going to be on tap, and I need to know like how much CO2 goes into each particular canister. What I won't go through today, just for now, just because it's a whole nother box like that I'm trying to open and get things figured out, is my kegerator. So my kegerator right now, I've got it chilled, so I'll put my kegs in there once I've pressurized them, but there's a little place on the back for me to stick my CO2 canister and connect that CO2 canister to all my kegs. I can hold up to 4, but I only have 2, so that's good. And then it's a 4-tap kegerator, so I can have 4 kegs total, which means 4 taps. So that's kind of exciting. So let me show you a little bit of what we're doing too. So the other thing I told you about is CO2. This is, I guess, a 5-pound. I guess it feels more like 10 pounds, but this is our CO2 canister. As far as I know, the container itself is about $25, and then to fill it up is another $25. So for a brand new one of these, you're looking at $50. And I believe it also comes with the regulator. The regulator may be about an additional like $30 or $40. So just plan on it being less than $100, but more than $50, just in case. And then every time you refill this, it's only like $25 after that. So just one thing to consider. You can find larger containers in this, but if you're a home brewer, this is all you need, okay? And it's just like a propane tank. You have a valve for opening. You can open the valve or close the valve, obviously. And then you have a regulator right here. So as you twist it and it moves in, it's actually opening a valve and it's actually pressurizing the line, which is what goes into the beer in the first place. And then you have a release valve, which is this green little knob. And then you have a totalizer that shows you how much CO2 you have left in. One thing to consider is the temperature of the CO2. So it shows that I've only got about 600 psi of CO2 in here. That's a little off just because it's been sitting in the refrigerator with my other keg, because that's what I was using for a while at first. So the temperature, the colder the temperature, the less psi there is. The hotter the temperature, the higher the psi there is. So something to consider. I've learned that you can actually weigh these things. So when you first get it filled up, you can weigh it. And then, because there's a total weight on here, which is 8.04 pounds. And let's see, there should be, I think that's empty. So 8.04 pounds. So when you get it, so if it's like 16, that means you have 8 pounds of CO2 in here in addition to what's here. So you can just weigh it to find out how much is left in here if you're not trusting the gauge. The other things I wanted to show you are these things. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a cleaner. So I've got PBW. This is what I use for all of my fermenters and my kegs and bottles, if I have to clean bottles, all that kind of stuff. This is really good at getting the gunk off, any of the residual mineral deposits from like water or beer or even sanitizing solution. Sometimes it creates a little bit of a layer, and so it's not that big of a deal. It's super easy. This is fairly cheap for, I think this is a 5 pound, 5 pound of PBW. In general, this will be about $30 for a container like this, and it should last you a while. But it's really, really good at cleaning. I use it sometimes in our dishwasher or our sink, and it'll kind of do extra. So I highly recommend to get the most out of this. Not only do you clean your beer equipment, but just take some of that and just kind of scrub down certain things in your kitchen, or maybe things that have like mineral deposits on it, and just let it soak for a little bit. And this also helps, so like if you're using plastic fermenters like I use, then it means that you have less, there's less scrubbing that you need to do. And that's important, because if you do a lot of scrubbing, especially if you're using so let me show you what I use, okay? When you're scrubbing plastic, you need to use really soft material. So you can use a sponge, okay? But just be cautious. If you have a sponge like I have right here, there's like a bristle pad on the back that's hard and very scratchy on the plastic, and it could actually create scratches in the surface of the fermenter or things like that. If it's like a stainless steel fermenter or like a keg, it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want, because this isn't going to scratch the metal. But in terms of plastic, you're going to want to use the soft side of the sponge. Using PBW and letting it soak, and it will get all that gunk off, and literally it should bring it all off on its own. Otherwise, if it doesn't, you can just take the soft part of the sponge or a washcloth and just wipe it down. Sometimes even your hand will be just as good. So those are some things to consider when you're doing cleaning with the beer. And just one thing to consider with that is just be cautious. And anyways. And then once you clean your stuff, then you want to sanitize it. The next most important thing to I guess the most important thing is cleanliness and sanitation. So I use Star San, and Star San is a high acid cleaner. It kills everything: bacteria, wild yeast, that kind of thing. And the good rule of thumb is you let it touch surfaces. It's going to touch beer, specifically beer that's going into a fermenter, into a bottle or a keg, because at that point the temperature of the beer is low enough that bacteria can survive. So we're just using that to kind of clean everything out and clean the tubing, clean the lining, clean everything that's going to be touching the beer. And then that's what we're doing. That's just so no bacteria gets in it, okay? So those are the two things that you absolutely must have if you're going to be a home brewer, okay? Again, cleaning and sanitation are number one. Number two is water. Number three is the actual recipe itself. Those are the priorities of importance when it comes to home brewing. The next thing you're going to need is a silicone tube that's long enough to go from your racking cane, which is here. It's just a siphon cane. So this is just the long tube. This is the racking cane. I don't know if you could see that. You're going to connect the tube up to this side, and then the other part of the tube is going to go into the actual keg. And it all connects like this, and you're going to basically push this down, and then actually what you're going to do is you're going to have it all the way depressed, and then when you get it in the fermenter, you're going to pull it out so it fills the bottom of the tube, and then you're going to push down, and then when you push down it starts a siphoning effect, and that's what causes the beer to go from the fermenter into the keg. Okay, so that's another thing you're going to need. Again, these things need to be sanitized. After touching beer, rinse it off immediately. If you can rinse it off immediately, then you don't have to be using PBW to kind of clean off the hard stuff. So that's some things to do there. And the last thing I'm going to show you guys is our hydrometer, which I already showed you during our brew session. So let me just show you real fast. So it's a little bit different with kegging because you want your beer to be done fermenting. So that's the whole purpose for the hydrometer. Remember when, if you've watched my streams before, we use this to tell us the starting gravity or the original gravity, and the gravity will determine how many potential sugars there are, or fermentable sugars there are in that beer, well, soon to be beer, but we call it wort, right? So how much how much fermentable sugars are in the wort, and it also is going to kind of give us an idea of the potential alcohol. Okay, this is temperature corrected to about 60. This one says 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is really low. Normally they're down to about 68 or 70. So I guess I just it's important to cool it down as much as I can to that temperature to get a more accurate temperature reading or gravity reading. And then there's a paper that comes with it that kind of says, hey, this is how you correct for it. If the temperature is 70 degrees, whatever, you add X amount. Okay, we're doing that today because today when we measure it, we're going to be measuring the finishing gravity, or the FG, and that's going to tell us whether the beer is done fermenting or not. My kind of rule of thumb is, at least all the way up to this point, has always been let the beer ferment. Rule of thumb is I always leave it in there for about 3 weeks. It takes about a week for it to ferment, and then I give it 2 weeks diacetyl rest, which is just giving the yeast an opportunity to, one, rest, and two, to kind of go back up through the beer and clean the beer, kind of eating up all the off flavors and things like that. So that's what I do. A lot of people do that. In terms of what that looks like for me when I start a brewery, I'm not quite sure. So one of my experimentations will be to actually brew a beer, let it ferment for about 5 days, and then I'm going to pull it out immediately. As long as it's done fermenting, I'll pull it out and we'll keg it, and we're going to do a taste test. What does it taste like? And then I'll do that same beer, and we're going to let it sit for 2 weeks, and then we'll do the same beer, and we'll let it sit for 3 weeks, and we're just going to see which beer tastes the best, or if it tastes exactly the same. Because if it tastes exactly the same, then I can just start moving my beers through much faster, especially when I get to a commercial level. That's going to be something that I need to know anyways, because that just shows me the amount of turnover I can be brewing beer. So I can brew like lots of batches of beer 1 week, and then I can go start fermenting those, and then the next week start another batch, and then by the time the beers that are fermenting are ready to keg, then this beer will be fermenting. So anyways, so just figuring that out. So I've got a lot of things to experiment on. The other nice thing about kegging is it's way faster and way more efficient than actually bottling beer. Because bottling beer requires us to get a sugar, which I use corn sugar or dextrose, and you have to boil it in water, and then you have to cool it, and then you have to stick it in the bottling pail. And you take the beer from the fermenter into the bottling pail, you mix in the sugars, make sure you don't have a lot of oxygen, and then you go from bottling pail to the bottles, and the bottles have to be cleaned, sanitized, and filled with beer, and then you cap it, and then you let it sit in the bottle. So it's just a much longer process. So right now I'm about 20 minutes into this stream, and I've taken all that time to kind of tell you guys what to expect with the kegging and what you need to do to get going on it. And then what we're going to do now is I'm actually going to empty the PBW water out. I'm going to rinse it off. Remember, I'm going to do it 3 times, 2 or 3 times anyways. Make sure everything's clean, all the components are clean, and then we're going to star sand everything, okay? That's just going to sanitize everything we possibly can that's going to be touching the beer. Once we do that, we're going to pressurize it and move the star sand from one keg to the other. Once all the star sand is out of that one keg, we're going to just empty any residual star sand, and then we're going to fill it full of beer, okay? So super easy. It takes about 20 minutes per keg to fill with beer, which is awesome. And then once we have it once we have each beer in its keg, we're going to pressurize it. I'm going to take a quick sample of it. We're going to do an initial taste test of it, and then next week I'm going to do a final taste test of it once it's fully carbonated. So that's what we got going for us today. And then again, obviously I'm going to be measuring the gravity. So without further ado, you know what? It's time for a beverage. So I'm really excited that Fire Vixen, the spicy amber ale that I made for my friend. Today we're unveiling it. It's her birthday. So finally, I should do this because you can't even see my face. Finally, it's time to drink, and so I'm really excited to see what she thinks of it. I'll have to take a video of it. Let me see if I can help myself with some lighting. Turns out that I don't have great lighting in my house, especially when I'm looking down, and my light source is right here. Silly. All right, let's get going. I know I had some music on here at some point in time, so it's gonna just be boring and silent, just me talking. So that's what you get to deal with. It's also really freaking hot too. And the oops. Okay, here's the dipstick that goes down all the way to the bottom. I'm just gonna set that there for now. I'm pulling all my stuff out. They say to use the same temperature of water as you use to kind of clean everything off. It doesn't really matter what temperature you use, honestly. So, as long as it gets cleaned off. Unfortunately, I don't have like the biggest biceps yet, because I'm working on them, trying to get some sick guns. But it does help me get my hand in the keg now, which is awesome. Maybe one day I won't be able to, so I'll have to have a whole other container with PBW in it for all the parts and pieces. I just try to do all the parts and pieces all together, so it's just less stuff to rinse off. Again, I'm just trying to use all this resources as best I can. Okay. One thing about brewing is it takes a lot of water also. A lot of water, a lot of time, and so it's really important to try and come up with solutions that are more efficient for water usage and things like that. Because I make so many messes. every little thing that you can do to be more efficient and use less resources is the way to go. So, there's a lot of great ideas out there on the interweb. So if you ever get into home brewing, just check out the forums and just see what works best. And if you have a space to do all this stuff that's not inside your house and not going to get everything soaking wet, I highly recommend it. But I'd also recommend getting a culinary handle or a culinary sprayer, because that is a game changer. Alright, so now that we're going to fill this one full of Star San first, and we're going to kind of take a small sample of that to kind of sanitize all the other components, the different valves, the inlet valve and the outlet valve, and we're just going to make sure that everything has an opportunity to kind of touch the Star San on the inside of the keg, and then everything on the outside of the keg too. So we're going to get to that here soon. So I'm going to fill this up with Star San, and we'll go from there. The biggest thing with Star San is don't overdo it, because Star San will kill your yeast, and it could also just be gross if you drink it. Don't drink it. It's bad. But I always tell you guys it's okay to have a little bit of foam in there, right? Foam is good. It's so small, it's so minuscule, the amount of Star San that might be left in your beer or your fermenter. It's not going to harm your yeast. If you drink it, it's not going to harm you in any way, shape, or form. So a little bit of foam is good, but I always try to get the residual out as much as possible to reduce the amount of potential Star San that's going in there, mostly for the sake of flavor than anything. But it is considered a poison in terms of, like, if you have too much of it, or if you have it at all, like on your hands. Like if you have it on a finger, don't lick it. It's just be careful with it, okay? And there are some different things that you're supposed to do. So for cleaning only and sanitizing, do not drink. But when it comes to putting it in a fermenter, putting it in your bottles, or any of these things, the amount that's actually going in there and that's actually on the surface on there is not going to be detrimental to your health. So don't worry about it, okay? When I first started home brewing, I was freaking out about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if this, and what if that, what if this? And I talked to all these people, and they're like, hey, just chill out. Okay. And then it was good. So, and I am going to okay. So it's going to start filling up. All right, we're good. You guys good? It's only me, myself, and I right now, so that's okay. I'm kind of doing a different thing right now. So yeah, I have to say thanks also to Rob with 2Bs. If you haven't checked out his channel yet, I highly recommend it. It's Rob with 2Bs. Okay, he's got a cooking channel, and he is, at least the videos that I've seen him do, he's been working on baking cakes. But what he's doing is he's working through this book of cakes, and so he's trying all these different ones. And the last one, I'm gonna butcher it. So Rob, if I butcher it, I'm sorry, but it was like some old style British cake. Started with a T, is like trisflu, something along that line. But it looked really advanced and quite difficult. And he was racing against time too. So that was another thing that was just fascinating. I jumped on there for a bit and then watched the rest later, and it's awesome. So he's got a lot of skill, and actually, I mean, I haven't really done much baking before, but after watching him, I'm like, man, I should get into baking. So anyways, if you're interested in that kind of thing, definitely check him out. But I want to say thanks to Rob with 2Bs, because he gave me a quick shout out on his channel, so I get to do the same. He's awesome. He's a great guy, very calm and very collected, and his stream is really good quality too. I really like what he's got on there. So yeah, go check it out. But he brought 2 new followers to my channel, which is Elf Al Dax and Rob's cousin. So I appreciate the 2 follows there. So if any of you guys jump on here to watch this stream, I just want to say thank you to you guys, because you guys are awesome. So anyways, welcome to the Speakeasy Brewer team, the brew crew. So yeah, anyways, and then also Bug Kitten also, he gave me a shout out on his channel, and I think I got like 1 or 2 followers from him, so I need to make sure that I let him, give him some spotlight too. He does a channel that focuses on, at least the videos that I've seen, he focuses on talk about the strategy of the game Go, which is like, with the white and black stones. It's kind of like chess. Kind of. It's hard to explain because I don't understand it fully, but it's always been a game that I've wanted to try and play. I believe it's an ancient Chinese like game, maybe Japanese. I don't know. But anyways, I jumped on and watched a couple of his videos, and he really goes into the depths of like what that game entails and who's playing and how they're playing, and it's kind of a fun little commentary that he does. So I haven't seen if he does actually play Go. I'm sure he does, because he knows quite a bit about it, but I haven't seen any of his streams yet that show that he has, but I'm sure it's on there. But I just jumped on the last few ones. So if you are interested in the channel or interested in the game Go, definitely jump on his channel, because you will learn how to play. So and there's just a lot of good stuff. He just looks at just the different strategies and tactics that people use to win. So check them out, and follow both Rob with 2 B's and Bug Kitten, please, because they're both awesome. So and the great thing about Twitch is we get to help each other out. So that's the best part about it. So I couldn't be where I am today without you guys, and I want to do whatever I can to help you all out too. So yeah, all right. And whenever somebody jumps on and says, hey, one thing I'd love to do, since I've got Stream Elements running right now, I would like to learn how to do shout outs and some other things. So holler at me if you know how. Alright. This is almost full. Again. Oh, who is that? Madison Ian Lanford. Hold on, I can't read. But hey, welcome and thanks for following. You are awesome. We're kegging beer today, so that's exciting. And thanks to you, I'm 1 step closer to affiliate. I'm almost at 50, so now I'm down to 8 people that I need. Okay, hold on 1 second. Hold on, this is the important part right here. Okay, that's good enough. Whew. Whew, whew, whew. 1 second, and then I'll say hi. Okay. All right, so let's find out. Madison, is that Lanford? Madison Lanford? Did I say it correctly? I hope so. Anyways, welcome, Madison Lanford. Thanks for joining the Speakeasy Brewer. We're kegging beer today. We're kegging a Kolsch and a Stout, and I just filled up my keg, what you saw here. I just filled it up with Star San. Star San is a high acid sanitizer, and I'm just sanitizing the keg, getting it ready for the beer. So we're going to let everything sit in there. Meanwhile, what I'm going to do is everything that's going to touch the beer, which I'll show you. So I've got these little valves. This one is just for CO2. That doesn't go very far into the keg. And this one is going to connect to a longer dipstick that goes to the bottom of the keg. And these things, since they're going to touch beer, need to be sanitized. But there's all that. So we're sanitizing everything that could touch beer so that the beer does not get ruined. Okay, so that's what we're waiting on. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to... I have another keg here. I'll show you real fast. Sorry if I make you sick. But here we go. All right, so here's my 2 kegs. This one's got Star San in it. This one has a different cleaner in it, and the cleaner is called PBW, and that is an oxidizing agent. It looks a lot, it's a powder, and it looks a lot like dish detergent or like laundry soap or something, dry laundry soap. And it kind of works like OxyClean. You stick it in with hot water, and it just gets all that gunk off. And it's a really great way to clean everything. So you clean, sanitize, and then you can put your beer in, and it's safe and sound. So, and since you're new to my channel, Madison Lanford, please tell me if I'm saying it correctly, or if I'm totally butchering it. I'm sorry. But if you have any questions about anything that's going on here, please let me know. I would love to answer whatever questions you have. And then if you have any friends that you think might enjoy this, send them on over. Send them on over. So I'm going to get going. Let me finish this real quick thing before I lose track of time. And then I'll come right back to you. Also, cheers. I don't know if you have water, tea, coffee, wine, beer, wherever you are in the world. Cheers to you and welcome. Okay. So I'm just going to get these. I just want them to touch the Star San. Because, let's see, there's markings on the keg. It says in and out, so O2 in, CO2 in. Oh, come on now. And then you got out, which is obviously the beer goes out. And I'll show you the dipstick too. I'm trying to use as much of the resources as I can, as efficiently as I can. That way I don't waste more water, that kind of thing. So anyways, here we go. Here's our dipstick that goes all the way to the bottom of the keg, which is kind of cool. So that's, here, let me just show you what it does. So if you are a home brewer and you haven't done this yet, I'm sorry for my videography, but this dipstick goes all the way in, and then I put the next bolt on. And then I am going to use this handy dandy wrench that I just got, whoops, and we're just gonna tighten it. And it doesn't have to be super tight. There we go. Just until it gets a little bit of tension is fine. Here, I can't do this with holding the camera. Plus, I'm probably making you sick as a dog. So sorry about the motion sickness. I might have to have like a warning on my channel that says, warning, if you get sick from motion, you might want to avoid this channel. Come on. Heavens to Betsy. And the other thing too is you don't need it to be like super tight, because then you have to take it all off anyways, and that's just a pain in the hiney. Alright, so this is the top part of the keg. Okay, this is the O-ring that goes on this handy dandy thing, and that's going to make sure that the pressure just stays inside of the keg, which is awesome. So we're going to keep the Star San in here, and we're going to use CO2, and we're going to force that Star San out into this other keg, and then we're going to fill this keg with beer, and then the other keg will just sit in Star San for a little bit before we hand. Easily odd. Oh, yeah, dude. Welcome back. Yes, I do. I really do need one of those. And actually, Brubella and I have been actually thinking about getting something like that, because we have another idea for a stream for a different channel that we might do. But you're right, I probably should. And one of my investments, once I reach affiliate, which I'm 8 people away now, and I guess one other thing I need to do is I need to have like an average of 3 viewers. So it still might be a few streams before I become affiliate, even after I get to 50 followers, but yeah, that's we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I do plan on getting some more camera angles for y'all. I love it. Dude, that's brilliant. Oh yeah, by the way, I love it. Notice anything different? The stream is different. I added a whole bunch of new things. I'm now using Stream Labs, and I just realized that this, oh, What did I do? What did I do? Okay, that's locked in place. Let's do this. Here we go. All right. Fixing it. Okay, cool. All right, so awesome. Yeah, you're right. I could duct tape it. I'm actually using, my phone's right here. I'm actually using my laptop. It's actually working with the internet right now, so there's a bonus there. Yeah, anyways. Okay, let me get to this. I'm going to sanitize this, and we're going to keep going. If you think anybody else would enjoy this, I know, I know. It's hard. It's hard. When you guys jump on and you start interacting, you just make it way too fun. You know, so it's our problem, comrade. Okay, let's get this thing going. But anyways, thanks for jumping on. It's great to see you again. Hope things are well in your world. All right. Let's see. Is it going this way? Okay. This side first? Yep, that side first. Okay. Okay. So that's all good. All right. Sorry if I don't focus on, but if you need my attention, just send a chat or make a noise or something like that, and I'll make sure to come run in to check what y'all are talking about. Meanwhile, this is like a puzzle that especially with this new keg. Oh, come on out. How did I get it in here in the first? Okay, whatever. Okay, so all this, anything that was touching the PBW needs to get rinsed off really well, by the way. Rinse off really well, at least 3 times. Alright, I'm trying to get some of the main stuff out right now. And then we will dump the rest of it out. And it makes a flippin' mess, so just be ready for that if you ever do get into kegging. You know what? I should duct tape the phone to my head because that would actually be hilarious. Oh no! Oh! Okay. Alright, that was a big fail. That was a massive fail. You didn't see that, but I made... Here, I'll just show you. So, here is science. Turns out that my hand had way more displacement than the fluid that's in there, and or the room that was at the top, and I just spilled it everywhere. So... I'll be right back. Need a towel. Definitely, my wife loves it when I do beer stuff inside the house. She likes it a lot. Because, you know, makes a lot of mess and uses up all of our towels and all that fun stuff. But mostly it just makes a mess. Oh my goodness. Wow. That was a mess. Okay. This is what I call uncensored streaming. Oh, I see you messaged me. Hold on 1 second. Ein Moment bitte. Come on now. Okay. I know. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Whenever she's not, it's like perfect every single time. I also happen to be doing this whenever there's like a big event getting ready to happen at our house, so I always make a mess and then I have to clean it like Speedy Gonzalez style. So it's nice and clean before people show up. I don't know why I do it that way, but that's how it works out every single time. Oh, I've got two of these, huh? Interesting, okay. Good rinse on everything. Good rinse on everything. Everything needs to be rinsed really, really well. Oh, okay. That's a big thing. All right, hold on. I know I'm just not even showing you guys love right now. I'm trying to clean as I go because it's a freaking mess. But anyways, I just want to say hi. It's drink break time. Also, I can't remember easily odd if you were on for the IPA brew recently, but that has finished its fermentation, and it smelled off the charts. Like, I had it in my bedroom to keep it, because it's supposed to ferment at about 75 to 80 degrees. So I kept it in my bedroom because that's where I can keep that temperature right around where I wanted it to. And it smelled so good. It smelled like I had somebody squashing peaches and pineapple in my room. It was fan-freaking-tastic. It was so good. It was so good. So anyways, that's going well, and I'm hoping to keg that here very soon too. Oh, dude, it's good. And then today, I'm introducing my friend to her, whatever it's called, her Fire Vixen beer, which is the spicy amber ale. I think I tried streaming it, and then for whatever reason, the internet was being stupid, so it just didn't work. So that's good. You can go out to go potty? Okay. Sorry, dog needs to go out. Okay, the hoppy puppy is out. Alright, so big thing here. Gotta rinse now. Oh yeah, what is that? What did I leave in here? Oh, oh yes. Yes. This. Okay. Well, that's clean, so that's good. There's still beer in it. It won't come out, but it's because it's a sealed tube right now. Oh yeah, gotta rinse this out too. Anyways, easily odd. How are you doing? How's life going for you? Hopefully, all is well on your home front. It also doesn't help that my sink is busy. Yeah, I hear that, man. I hear that. That's good. It's good. I know, I'm trying to, like, my work is getting crazy too. I'm trying to figure out how to stream on top of doing all the live stuff, so glad to hear it's good though. Okay, this stuff is not coming off. make sure I do not have any more of that stuff in here, the PBW. Looks like I got it all out. That's good. I got towels down here so I can dump it out. I've already made a mess anyway, so what's more of a mess, right? Right? Am I right? All right. So that is good. All right. So now comes the fun part. This is where we're going to use the CO2 to move star sand from one container to the other. Alright, so in and out. Okay. So this goes. Some of the stuff is so different. I did not actually look at how this was put together. Now I'm regretting that I didn't do that. The other funny thing is I went to go get a tool that worked on this other keg, the original keg that I had, and when I got back I realized that the new keg took a different size, and I was like, can't be easy, can never be easy, it's not allowed to be easy. I guess if it's too easy, then there's just not as much excitement in the victory. Okay, I'm hoping I did this right. We're gonna find out. And like I said, you want to tighten it to where it's, tight, but you don't want it to be too tight. It's kind of like when you're doing car tires or something like that, when you're putting the bolts in, it doesn't need to be like, God level tight, because then you're the only one that's going to be able to get it off, or you need machinery. So same sort of thing here, just needs to be tight enough that it won't let any air out. That's the big thing, is you want it to be airtight more than anything. Okay, this is almost tight. There we go. Cool. Alright, so I need this to go on the outside. Yes, okay. Here we go. Okay, so that's good. Now we need to get the CO2. Here, let me show you what I've got going on here. That way I'm not just hogging it to myself, but let me show you. Sorry if I'm making you sick. Okay, so we've got on the out, we got our hose. Okay, this is where all the star sand and beer is going to come out of. On the red side, that's where the oxygen is going to go, or not oxygen, sorry, CO2 is going to go in. Red hose goes to the red. So there's that. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to put the star sand in here to sanitize this one, this keg. And then while that is sitting in the star sand, we're going to put the beer in the one that's got the star sand in now. So that's always fun, and this is always a scary part because then you get to see what is working or what doesn't, or what has a leak and what doesn't, because you start putting pressure on everything and it's like, I don't know if you saw my first keg video, but one of my very first keg videos, or my first time kegging, I just freaking destroyed myself with star sand and stuff. It was a great time. Okay, star sand is in. We are going to open the CO2. Yeah. And then we're going to add pressure. Let me show you. I show you. Okay, here we go. So, you can see the pressure gauge right here. This is how much pressure is in the tank, okay? It's about 700 right now. It's slowly going up because it's heating up. It was cold, so it's been slowly heating up. But when it's cold, the pressure decreases. When it's hot, the pressure increases, okay? Here is the amount of pressure that's going to be going into the line. So we're going to figure that out in terms of the keg. And so what we're going to put it up to is about 20 psi. So that's this mark right there. And then once we do that, then we're going to move the star sand. Oop. Okay, there's an initial hiss. I don't even think it needs to go up that high. We'll go up to 10. We'll start with 10 and we'll see. So we're at 10 right now, okay? And then here's what we got. So let me show you what's going on. Sorry if I make you sick, but let's see if it works. There we go. Sweet. So we're just gonna move the star sand into this container and just let it float. Or soak, sorry, float, gosh. I'm really tired today, so that's the reason why I'm just blabbing about stuff and not saying the right words, so bear with me. So we're just going to make sure all the star sand's out, and then what I'll do is I'll take the top off, pour out any residual star sand, and then we're going to put the beer in, alright? Okay. Now doing this, one caveat that I have to share with y'all is doing this is you are using CO2. So it does mean you're going to be running through your CO2 canister faster by doing this. But everybody that I've talked to does this, and they say it is a pretty solid way of going about kegging. And with the cost of CO2, it's not that big of a deal. And honestly, this part right here, the cleaning and the sanitizing and rinsing and all that, this is the most amount of work you're going to do on kegging day, okay? Once it comes to the actual kegging, where we're putting the beer in the keg, it goes much, much faster. But I'm really, really excited to try the beer too, so we're definitely going to do that. You can't go a day without, you can't keg or bottle without trying the beer. That's like, that's not okay. So, yeah, anyways, there's that. All right, we're about halfway full or halfway done. It's both. One thing is my finger is getting tired. But yeah, 10 psi works perfectly. You don't need to have anything more than 10 psi, so that's good. It gets it all out. nice thing is once the star sand's done, everything, the mess is not as much as it would be with the cleaning. One day I am going to have like a full-on brew house, and it's going to be amazing. I'm going to have a big freaking sink and hoses everywhere. I'm going to have all the cool stuff, so I'm just excited that you guys get to join me on that journey. So these 2 beers that I'm bottling today are 2 prototype beers for the brewery that I'm going to be starting with. Okay, cool. Alright, that's it. All the star sands out. And we're going to close it up. And then okay, so we just released the CO2. Oh, yes. That, dude, one day that'll happen for me too. And I can't wait for that to happen. Have you kegged before? Do you keg? I don't know. Are you still doing the home brewing thing? But I like your idea of having a drain and a tiled floor. That'd be perfect. Okay. All the CO2 is out. Don't brew anymore. A bottling keg. Oh, that's awesome. You know what? Doing this with friends is like the way to go, honestly. I wish I had more people who were interested in brewing with me. My best friend from college, he was my homebrew, he's my homebrew buddy. I got him into homebrewing, and now he and I just sit and share ideas with each other all the time about like, oh, what are you brewing this week? Oh, I'm brewing this, blah, 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 blah. But that's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm glad you know the whole experience, which is awesome. That's huge. And I see somebody else just jumped on, so welcome to the Speakeasy Brewer. We're kegging. You jumped in at a great time. We're getting ready to move beer from the fermenter into the keg. So welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. Right now it's just me and Easily Odd. We're just talking about beer because that's what we do here on this channel. We nerd out on beer. Kegging beer, bottling beer, brewing beer, drinking beer, 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 beer. That's good stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I need to star sand these bad boys up. So I've never done 2 kegs at once, so I'm trying to manage my time with this the best I can, and it's all new to me for this. I've done 1 keg at a time, but not 2, so try to figure that all out. So bear with me. Ouch. Ow. Hands were harmed in the making of this stream. Hopefully there won't be beer lost in the making of this stream, because that would be sad. You know that Titanic tin whistle that sounds horrible? I always think about that anytime I drop beer. I gotta have that as one of my sounds that I play in the background, just because it's freaking funny. Alright, so I'm gonna do this real quickly. pressurize this canister. Okay, 10, that looks good. Alright. Also, just cleaning, I think I already said this, but like just cleaning everything, just, it's a mess everywhere. Everything gets really messy. Just a heads up. And just everything that touches beer has to get sanitized. That's like the big thing. So, right now what I'm sanitizing is the racking cane, which is going to be moving the beer from the fermenter into the keg. I'm just trying to do this real quickly so I can move things around. Also, I need to get my hydrometer so we can get a hydrometer reading. Okay, so hydrometer, this also needs to get sanitized because it's going to be going in the beer. This is also a great time to get sanitizing solution on your hands or gloves if you have them. And honestly, I'd recommend gloves over getting it on your hands just because it's pretty gnarly stuff. My buddy actually has like outbreaks with this stuff, so that just goes to show you what kind of stuff you're dealing with. But it's important, okay? So, all right, let's stick this in here for real fast. Let me show you what I got over here. Here, I'll just carry you. I forgot, you're a laptop. You guys are laptops. All right, so I'm gonna show you my beer. Up close and personal. And you're gonna laugh when you see what I've done with my beer, but I came up with this idea and I'm really proud of it. So, so don't make too much fun. Yes, it's a shirt. It's to protect from sunlight. So, wait. Is that my stout? Which one is which? Nope, that's not my stout. That's my Kolsch. It is not as clear as it was. What in the Sam hell? Okay, well, whatever. I don't know what happened, but we're gonna do it anyways. Should be good. Oh, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. It smells good, so that's good. It was very clear, so I don't know why it went dark. So, wow, 1.10. It is overly fermented, which is good, but I still do not know why it's so dark. That's mind-blowing to me. Okay, anyways, I don't have time to figure that out right now. Smells like beer. It's fermented like beer. So, must be beer, right? All right. Honestly, I love kegging. Bottling's fun too. It just depends on what your outcome is. Big thing with this is you also definitely do not want there to be a whole lot of oxygen creation with this whole process. So keep it somewhat close and put the hose as much as you can to the side of the keg, if it not all the way to the bottom of the keg. And then this is our whoa, that was a close call. Woo! That was a very close call. I almost pressed down with the. Just straighten out for the son of a gun. Well, the color looks great. It's a little. I mean, it looks great for a Kolsch, so I think it's good. I don't know if I can. Here, let me just show you guys real fast. Okay, that's pretty good. Look at how clear that is. It's almost like water. And it's kind of hard to see, but let's see if I can get the golden color. There you go. Okay, so it's clear, it's gold. That's good. I like this. It's a little hotter than I want it to be because it was supposed to ferment at about between like 65 and 69 degrees. And 1 week it got up to, it got up to 75 degrees. So it was 10 degrees hotter than I really wanted it to be. So I'm very curious to see like how this works out. So we'll see. I'm going to do a taste test as soon as I get all the beer in here. The nice thing is it's going to go real quickly because the keg's on the ground, and so just the gravity and the siphoning is just going to go really, really fast, and that's perfect. My least favorite thing to do is, honestly, it's just cleaning, man. The cleaning is, it is time consuming. But it's worth it because then you got good old beer that you made, so. So remember, CO2 is heavier than air, so the CO2 is just sitting in here, which is great. So all the beer is going in, and as it's going in, it's pushing that CO2 up. So there's going to be a layer of CO2 that's going to be covering the beer as we're kegging. Once we're done, we're just going to seal this bad boy up, and then pressurize it. We'll take a little sample of it, and then I'm just going to let it sit under pressure for a few days, and then it should be ready to drink next weekend, which would be awesome. So good news there. So real quick, easily odd. I'm sure you can't really tell the difference, but I'm using Streamlabs this time, and so this is my very first stream on Streamlabs. So I'm not quite sure. I had everything pegged in with the Twitch beta stream thing, but how's the sound? How's the stream? Does it look good? All that fun stuff. I don't know. Whatever. I'm looking for feedback. That's what I'm looking for. I love it. Also, I just realized what you said. You said sweatshirts, old sweatshirts. Um, it just looked weird because it said Schritz. Okay, cool. Awesome. That's good. There's no lag. Okay, cool. No viewer count. Okay. I can get rid of that. Boom. Boopity boppity. I'm always open for feedback. Anything that'll improve it. It's good stuff. I see somebody else just jumped on, so welcome to the Speakeasy Brewer. You got on at a great time because we're putting beer in a keg right now. So this is my beer. It looks like a stout, but it's not. You can see the beer that's coming through is clear. This is a Kolsch that I made. It's my first time doing a Kolsch, and yeah. So we'll see. We're going to do a taste test of it, so don't worry. Don't you worry if you came here because you're like, oh, this guy's got beer and he doesn't have beer in his hand. Well, there's a lot of beer right here. This is 5 gallons of beer. Just give me a moment. Let this thing drain down, and then we're going to do a taste test of this beer. And I'm also kegging another beer, which is a stout, and it's right down below. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, I'm curious. Why? Is it, or is it because of the shirts? Okay. All right. Sounds good. I like it. I like it. Is it because of the shirts? I could sit there and be like, this channel's brought to you. Oh, I see. Just walk around in undies and just do my streams in undies. That'd be funny. I'll have Hanes shirts to cover my keg, or my fermenters, so it doesn't get light shock, and I'll just walk around and be like, so yes, here's the beer, and check out my. Yes. Uh, I love it. Okay, awesome. I like it. Sweet. We might have to do some. We'll have to come up with some brainstorm. You're on my Discord server, so if you have ideas, throw it on there. Maybe I can do that. I'll just walk over to the Hanes people and be like, "Hey, you guys should sponsor me. I brew beer," and they're like, "How does that relate to anything?" I'll be like, "I'll wear your underwear while I brew beer," and people are like, "What? Okay, sure. That sounds new, but that's bold. That's a bold strategy." So I like it. That makes me laugh. That's good. And whoever else just jumped on, jump on, say hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're more than welcome. If it's beer 30 where you're at, grab a brewski. If you're not a beer person, grab a wine. The short t-shirt and the undies over jeans is just... That's amazing. That is really hilarious. I like that. Okay. Oh, that's great. That's a fantastic story. Oh, awesome. I know I've got a bunch of like blonde hairs. Actually, one thing I did realize is when I was sticking my hand down in the keg, especially the old keg, the metal is not as smooth as it once was, and it actually ripped a hair out, so I had to pull it off. It was kind of gross. So your buddy would be wanting to kill me, I'm sure. Might not be a butt hair, but hey, you know what? It's a hair nonetheless. All right, we're almost done. Almost done. The great thing about this too is like, if I really wanted to, I could force carbonate this thing in like 30 minutes. I watched a few videos on it and I was like, that's brilliant. It's brilliant. Brilliant, I tell you. You basically pressurize it like 40 psi and you shake the crap out of it. Release the... Okay. That concludes the Kolsch. Got a little bit of the gross stuff in here, but that's okay. Okay. One thing I do need to do is I do need to put down that information about the Kolsch. Gotta put down the why can't I think of the word right now? I can't think of the word. The finishing gravity. So the finishing gravity, it was pretty darn close. It was supposed to be 1.08 and I got 1.010, so that's close enough. Or 1.09. 1009, sorry. That's what it was. Okay, cool. Okay, sweet. Alright, that's done. Alright, now, put this back on. Alright, this is sealed shut. We're going to get to that here in a moment. But, this channel is brought to you by beer. The Speakeasy Brewer beer, which is going to be a new brand before too long. Ha 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 ha. Okay, so look at all that nasty, gross stuff. So this is a bunch of yeast and stuff. If I really wanted to, I can harvest this stuff. I'm sorry if I'm talking really loud also. But I can harvest this stuff and put it in another beer later on if I was going to do another Kolsch or a beer that I wanted to have the same sort of profile that the Kolsch yeast provided. So there's that. This needs to get cleaned and rinsed. All right, so that's one keg down. I need to figure out a way to know which beer. Well, okay, it's the old keg that's got the Kolsch. That will help for now. Okay, I need to finish getting the star sand out of this one. And then we'll get the stout going. And then while we're getting the stout going, I will pressurize the Kolsch keg, and we're going to do a taste tester of that because that's dearly important to me to have some of that Kolsch. The interesting thing about these beers, so like I said, these are prototype beers for the brewery that I'm wanting to do. So I live in Utah, and Utah has dumb rules relating to beer, okay? Beer and alcohol and liquor and all that other stuff. They were well-meaning, but it's very oppressive. That being said, these beers, so I don't have to get a liquor license, are all 5.0 beers, so 5% alcohol. It's very challenging for me to want to do a 5% alcohol unless the beer itself in the beer judge certification program is known to have a specific alcohol level between like 4 to 5.2. There are some beers that are like that, like Pilsners. A Kolsch is actually one of them, but I think the Kolsch is more on like the 5.5 to 6%, so it's kind of on the higher end of 5. So we're just going to see how this turns out. So that's one thing that I'm really curious about and also nervous about is the fact that these beers that I'm doing today, the Stout and the Kolsch, are all 5-point beers. The reason I'm worried about it is because you use less grains. Less grains mean there's less sugar, which means there's less alcohol, but also less grains means less flavor and less complexity. So I was really challenged to try and create these two beers to, one, be able to have the amount of alcohol that it needed to have in order for us to be able to do without a liquor license, but also maintain the complexity that you'd expect from a Kolsch or a Stout. So that's why this has been, it's been a really good experience for me, but I just really hope it turns out. Because I think next week we're doing a beer tasting. Maybe you could see my business partners. I'll see if they'll be interested in doing a beer tasting with me, and then we'll just stream that because, obviously I'm biased towards my own beer, but I'm also trying to be as critical as I can about my own beer, because I want to always be better. Everything that I do, I always want to be better. I want to learn more. I want to do things. So it's very helpful for me for people to give feedback, whether it's good feedback or all feedback is good feedback, but I mean whether it's positive or negative feedback, I need that in order for me to improve. And obviously negative impact just wants me to improve even all the more. So and that just is reinforcing why easily I asked you what my stream is like, and I'm always open for feedback. So yeah, so I mean, we could get a liquor license, and it's just weird because if you get a liquor license in Utah, it allows you to do high point beers. But if you're a brewery and you get a liquor license, you also have to offer wine and liquor. You can't just offer high point beer. We also found out that if you do brew a high point beer, you can't, and you don't have a liquor license, you can't sell that beer for drinking at your facility, but you can sell that beer in a can for somebody to take to their home and drink. So we did find a little bit of a loophole, which is good. But we're trying to create a brewery that has a really awesome, atmosphere and just a hangout space. We want people to come and enjoy themselves and stay as long as they want, have a couple beers, whatever. We're even looking at this property that's close to a bike path so people can ride their bikes back and forth and stuff like that. And it's going to be in a sweet location. And there's a lot of potential growth, which is even more exciting. Yeah! Oh! That scared me. Okay, hold on. I'm getting distracted again. Okay. Oh, we're almost done. That's good. Okay, sorry. I'm going to just ignore you guys for a second. Okay. Regulator off. Oh, not all the way off. Shoot. Good thing you didn't see that. Good thing you're looking at my butt. which would be perfect if I was doing a Hanes commercial. Shoot, this is a good idea. This is a good idea. Easily odd, this is a good idea. Maybe what I'll do is I will, okay, so that's closed, closed. Scam likely, I'm not answering. Bunch of nerds. They're probably calling me about my car's extended warranty. Okay, so we're gonna do this. I'm gonna rinse this out real quickly, sand it up, and then we're gonna put the Stout in this other one. I make so many messes. I would say if you don't make messes, you're not a home brewer. Or you're a master home brewer who's got everything figured out to a T. And I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. I also think that I make more mistakes when I do the stream, but honestly, it's okay because you guys get to see the uncensored Speakeasy Brewer. Alright. Alright. Let's go back to Zispia real quick, because we're going to do a taste test of this. Okay. Because I'm really excited for this. This is the best part. This is the best part of any beer, right? Okay. All right, here we go. I want you guys to see this. Okay. Opening it up. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Ooh. Okay, here we go. First Kolsch taste. Let's see if I can get you guys closer. Let's get down here. Sorry if you get sick. I apologize. But this is important. This is an important moment. Okay, it's got just a little bit of pressure. Okay. So here's our Kolsch, okay? A couple things that I'm going to say right out the gate. Sorry if I'm going to see if I can give you guys a better view. There we go. There we go. All right, so obviously it's a little hazy, okay? It's hazy because I can look at it right here. It's full of some air bubbles from the CO2 because it's under pressure right now. There's also a little bit of particulate, so part of that is the yeast that is just a remnant of what came from the fermenter. As the beer will chill in the kegerator, that yeast will fall out and fall to the bottom, and it should improve the clarity. What I like so far is I feel like this the color is really, really, really pretty. So it looks like I've got the clarity I want. Obviously, it looks a little hazy right now. But it's got that kind of nice gold color that I'm looking at. Obviously, right now, I see on the stream what you guys are seeing. It kind of looks like an IPA. On my end, it looks a little bit lighter than, a dark IPA. So I think, again, a lot of that comes from the floating yeast. There is a weird hue to it that I wasn't expecting. So when I looked at the keg today, um, literally a week ago, it was 100% clear in the keg, and it was bright and brilliant. And then when I pulled it out today, it was dark and opaque, and I couldn't see through it. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. So anyways, good thing too, we got a nice head on it. So that's also a good sign of a good beer. And it's just improving on clarity. So I feel like overall the color is pretty good, the clarity is pretty good. And again, it's not carbonated here. I used CO2 to put the push the beer through. So this is an uncarbonated warm beer. So it's not the best it could possibly be. Okay. So that's my quick little take on it. I'm trying to be fair. I'm not going to be like, I'm the best brewer in the whole world. Every beer I make is perfect. Wow. There's a flavor, and I don't know what that flavor is. I don't think it's good. I'm going to let it condition and cool down. But there's a flavor to it that's just like, I'm gonna say it's probably because of the temperature. I couldn't control the temperature, and I think that's what's causing it. Man, what a bummer. It's like, it's a little sweet. Man, the aftertaste is just not good. Stand by. I gotta go look this up. So, one thing for sure, we're gonna take a quick pause on this because I need to make sure that I've got this figured out, because this is a learning lesson for me. Okay, so not everything works out, and that's just part of experimentation, as we've kind of gone over before on all my streams. But always look things up. Let's see. Flavors. What's hops? Man, there's just like some. It's not good. It's not good. All right, so we're looking for negative. Yep, okay. It is considered a phenolic or phenolic, negative fermentation flavor. It totally tastes like medicinal or Band-Aid or plastic. That sucks. That really sucks. That's like 5 gallons of beer. Yes, you're right. It is important. And I know exactly where the problem came from. So I don't have it. I'm afraid to look it up right now because I don't want to I don't want to look it up right now because I'm afraid it's gonna like cause my stream to go bad. But man, that is sucky. And I think that the whole point of fail for me was the temperature, because it went up. It went up to because it was supposed to fermentate or ferment. It was supposed to ferment between 60 and 69. It got up to 75. I'll have to look it up. I used an imperial yeast. It's the Dieter. G03. I mean, I feel like the beer overall is good, but man, the aftertaste is just nasty. Ugh. I would show you my notes of when I came home and found out that the temperature in the house was way too hot and my beer was way too hot. But it is full of expletives, and I feel like I might get banned on Twitch if I... Well, I mean, I guess I would have to... I wouldn't get banned. It's not like that, but yeah. Anyways, I just saw... I got a message from... Madison. Sup? Hey there. All right, sweet. Okay. Well, I don't know if Madison, if you're still on, but I got your Discord, so thanks for jumping on the Discord. Ask questions, be a part of it, think about all the stuff. I'll try to answer it the best I can. Okay, so overall, the color looks good, and it's slowly clarifying. It's got like this weird... It's a darker color than I expected, and almost kind of like a rosy color, which I don't think is a bad thing. The initial flavor is pretty good. It's a little sweeter than I expected for my Kolsch. But man, the aftertaste is just... the disappointment. Okay. Anyways, hopefully we'll get round 2 going here, and it'll be better. So we got round 2, which is our Stout. Dun, 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 dun. Taking the shirt off. Not my shirt, but the shirt that was on the fermenter. Okay. Get a good view of that. The Stout looks really good. Looks really clean. Smells good. So that's good. I didn't even smell the beer before I did this. You know, that's part of the review of any beer is the smell. Honestly, it tastes like all the other beers that I have right out the gate. Like when it's like malty, grainy. Gosh, the aftertaste is so disappointing. Man, I hate failing. Especially when you put so much time and effort into something, it sucks. But, whatever. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Anyways. We're just gonna keep going, and who knows, maybe it'll work itself out. That's the thing about experimentation. Hello, doggy. What are you doing? Are you covered in dirt? What the heck? What are you doing out there? Okay. Oh, yeah. We also have to take a reading, a gravity reading. It's important. Okay, so here's our gravity reading. Okay. I'm going to say it's 1.012. Okay. I'll have to look and see what actually it was supposed to be. But I'll do that here in a moment. Let's get this bad boy rolling. That is the center. Oh, there it is. 72 degrees. Alright, well the color looks really good. You can see it right here. It's a good color. It's kind of, honestly, it's just like it's a more of a brown color. I'm hoping it's a little more opaque, but this is still good. It's on profile still for a stout. This is an unusual stout because it's a 5.0 stout. So, my number one thing that I need to improve on is fermentation temperature control. That is so important. For any of you guys who are going to get into home brewing or have homebrewed, that is probably one of the single most important points in terms of like so I've said before, cleaning and sanitation are number one, water's number two, recipes number three. I'd say recipes number four. Number three is fermentation temperature control. That is a must. I definitely believe that those the phenols that I was tasting, like the medicinal kind of Band-Aid taste, which is so disappointing. Gosh. Anyways, that I'm 100% sure came from the temperature being too hot. But live and learn, right? That's the only thing we can do. We can't just... It's easy to like beat ourselves up over all the fail points, right? But I would argue that without failure, we never learn. I like to learn from other people's mistakes and do whatever I can to improve upon it, so I don't make the same mistakes again. But honestly, you're not immune to mistakes. We're all going to make mistakes. So I would say what I always say is be adventurous, experiment. Just know that mistakes are going to happen. You're going to make messes. You're going to have bad temperature control and fermentation, and sometimes it can lead to a happy accident. Other times it's just going to turn into just a sucky moment. I've had one beer so far. This could potentially be beer number 2 that I would consider is a fail point, like a failed beer. The first one was I had scrubbed my fermentation pail with bristle brush to get the gunk off, and obviously there was some bacteria that was stuck inside those scratches that I created, and it ruined the beer. It was a crazy little bacteria that grew, and it literally tasted like burnt Band-Aid. Like, it was the worst beer I'd ever tasted. But somebody told me that they were like, oh yeah, that bacteria won't hurt you, but you got to try it and see. So I was like, okay. Because some bacteria that you would think is bad can actually turn a beer good. So I'm going to let this beer sit for a little bit, because overall the initial aroma, the initial flavor, and the experience of that beer in particular is pretty good. It's just the aftertaste. It's kind of medicinal and kind of plasticky. Or kind of like an overripe avocado, so kind of chemically. It's pretty gross. So I'm hoping that it's just because it's a little warm, but we'll see. But yeah, when you're fermenting, try to follow the yeast. Read the yeast packet and find out exactly what is the fermentation temperature range, and just try and follow it as much as you possibly can. So this yeast also, the yeast that I used for this stout was it was the same yeast that they use for Guinness. So I'm kind of excited to try it out. So it's an Irish stout strain. So I'm really excited to see how this turns out. I couldn't find anything in terms of temperature range, so I was just guesstimating. I think it said something similar in terms of the temperature range. I'm pretty sure it said that it had to be equal to or less than 69 degrees Fahrenheit. This beer also warmed up. It got up to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, so it was like 6 degrees outside of the range. So there could be a potential that this beer is ruined too. I'm really hoping it did not turn out that way, but I'm trying to prepare myself for the reality that it could be the case. So, we'll see. Hey!
Are you done?
Almost. Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
You want to try a beer for me?
Yeah.
And I want your honest opinion. Brubella's back. She's gonna...
Close my eyes?
No. It's right there. It's the Kolsch.
Oh.
Okay. Come over here and
Okay. Smells like beer.
get in the camera. Okay. She's gonna do it. Brubella's gonna do a taste test for me.
This is the Kolsch.
I haven't told her anything about it.
To me, it already smells malty and deeper than like the Pilsner.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. That's good. She's got a good nose.
Sweeter, syrupier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm. Very bitter.
Bitter in terms of hoppiness, like too bitter in terms of hops, or
In terms of bitter. I don't know what makes it bitter, but
it'd probably be the hops.
too bitter.
Too bitter. Okay.
It's bitter and dry, kind of dry. It smells way better than it tastes.
Yeah.
It smells like the grains that I remember you
Yeah.
pulled out for me.
Yeah.
It smells like malty and
Mm-hmm.
kind of maple syrupy or something. But it tastes like
Yeah.
kind of flat, bitter.
I will. What about aftertaste? Tell me what you get with your aftertaste. Do you get anything?
Honestly, this is probably like, can I say it?
Yeah.
This is probably one of the worst beers you've ever made.
Yep. It's pretty bad.
Do you think it's bad?
I don't think it's the worst beer I've ever made, but it's pretty
It
close.
makes me want to go, blah.
Yeah.
If this was on a taste tester, I would not buy a pint of this.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Something happened. Is this the one that got too cold?
Too hot.
Too hot?
Yep, and this is the second one that got too hot.
Is that one also bad?
I don't know, I haven't
Tastes
tasted
bad.
it yet.
Okay. Yeah, it smells great, and it tastes like something went wrong.
Yep. Okay. It's the temperature. It's the temperature! I knew it.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
I know.
taste right.
Wife truths are hard, it's true.
And it even has a weird color, like greeny.
Yes,
color.
I thought so too. It was
There's something wrong
it
with
was
it.
opaque. Yeah.
It kind of just tastes like it got
Too-
infected with something. Like
Yep. Okay.
with light, no, or with heat, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Sorry. That's because I left and went on vacation. Our smart eco thermometer, we didn't have it hooked up to our phone to regulate temperature. So it just turned off because it didn't sense anyone was home.
Yep.
Thank you for saving us energy and ruining our beer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty bad.
Yep. Yep.
I was afraid to say it.
I wasn't afraid to say it. I gave myself, like, I just knew, I was worried from the get-go. Because when I pulled it out, it was opaque. It wasn't clear like it was.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Well, Kolsch is really yummy, so.
what'd you say?
Usually Kolsch's are so yummy that
I mean, I
you
don't know.
can't go wrong.
I don't know about that. But anyways.
On a lighter note, I have a jumping spider in here.
Cool, that's cool.
Go get it outside.
Anyways, so let me do a quick taste test of this this stout, and then we'll wrap this bad boy up because I have a party to go to, and I've got a good beer that I know is a good beer that we're going to reveal at this party. So if you learned anything from this stream, the thing is temperature control during fermentation is huge, and it is possible to have a ruined beer. I've done probably 50 beers, and out of those 50 beers, I've had 2 beers. Well, 1 beer totally failed from bacteria. This one was over fermentation and went bad or something. And then,
I need some apple juice. Ugh.
and then, yeah, and then I had my very first experimental beer, which was just disgusting. So, yep. So, it's okay. One thing about beer too is like, you know, it's part of experimentation. You never know. And like you said, easily odd, I'll let it sit for a little bit just to give it a try,
Yeah.
just to see, because there's a chance that it could figure itself out.
Yeah.
I doubt it, but no sense in trying. No sense in, or
No
not
sense in
trying.
not
Not
trying
no
since
sense
we
in
got
not
this
trying.
far.
Yep. Okay, we're gonna try this Yeah, that's pretty bad. I tasted burnt Band-Aid at the end, so to me it tastes like bacteria or something.
Band-Aid.
Yeah, I actually looked it up. It's a phenolic. It's from too hot of a yeast temperature. So the recipe was a good recipe. I think I could do it again, and if I had control over the temperature, it'd be perfect. And honestly, I might just do that with. I'll just do this one again because I need to make sure that I get it to work. So, okay.
It smells really good over here.
It's not my beer.
Well,
Probably the
like I
tomatoes.
said, that beer didn't smell that bad. Did you think it smelled bad?
No, it smelled okay. Alright. Give me a second, guys. Stand by. That's not sealed. Alright, that's sealed now. Alright. Alright, here we go. We're gonna do. This beer is so light in terms for a stout. I had to unload, just a little bit of beer because it still had the whatever it was called, the nasty beer, the failed beer, the Kolsch. Okay,
You had to do what now?
that was in the line. Okay, here we go.
Oh yeah. Here.
This is the stout. Okay, so overall, my first opinion of this. Okay, so it looks nice and stouty. It's opaque. It's got a little bit of a brown to it, which is good. That's right in profile for coloring. In terms of smell. Oh no.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
So I used I mean, it could be. It's probably just because it got too freaking hot. Doesn't smell very good. Man, two failed beers at once, man. If that's the case, I'm gonna be really, really bummed. But
Because you work so hard and
Look-
it took so much time.
yeah, yeah. Okay, well,
Download that app so you can regulate temperature.
what?
The app on your phone so you can regulate your own temperature. In your
There
house.
is no app.
Yeah, there is. A Nest app. The Nest.
Okay, so it doesn't smell. Honestly, it doesn't smell like a stout. Mmm.
Tastes good? Oh wow. It doesn't smell
Oh,
good.
thank
but it
God.
tastes good?
Okay. It's a very light stout in comparison to other stouts that I've had. But it's bitter. It's pretty bitter for a stout, but I guess stouts are bitter anyways.
Or raisiny.
It's not raisiny. It's nutty, kind of chocolatey. That might be a that
Kind of smells like.
And it's really smooth.
Like.
It's hard for me to.
Like a cereal mixed with fish.
Ew.
Not like a bad fish, but like before a fish gets fishy, like.
You're not.
Like
do you want me to give you a bigger shovel so you can dig your own grave?
Like a fresh tuna from a sushi place.
That's disgusting.
But it has that grape nut smell.
Okay, well, that's good.
Maybe a hint of dog food. It's not bad, but it doesn't have the body of a stout.
Mm-mm. It tastes like a brown ale.
I think it's bad too. For what it's supposed to be versus what it is, I think it's being masked a little bit more because the grains are stronger.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The number one lesson for today is if you're gonna brew beer and you're gonna ferment, you better have some freaking good control over it. I would recommend, if you can't control your temperature, to
buy a fermenter.
Right? Seriously. I'm going to invest in a temperature control.
Yep.
And I'm not going to use we need to move towards sustainability and more efficient homes, but honestly, the Nest thing is one of the worst things that has happened to me in terms of the beer. So if I wasn't brewing beer, I'd say using Nest for your home is good because it's eco-friendly, right? Because it's like you're not home, it's not putting the temperature where it needs to be or where you want it to be. Mm-hmm. But when you're brewing beer and you're fermenting beer inside the house, it has to be very specific. Mm-hmm. I didn't think about it until I got back and I realized that the house was too damn hot, and I was like, shoot. I didn't say shoot. Well, I said another word.
Home, so
yeah.
There's someone stimulating the thermometer.
I don't know. I would say this is way better.
Do you need a grain muffin?
No. Okay. Well, one thing is for sure. That does taste a little bit better. I don't know why I can't smell it. To me, it doesn't taste like a stout. It tastes more like a brown ale, like a bitter brown ale. I might have put too many hops in it. I'd have to look at the recipe. So let's see what I put in there. Gosh. Well, at least you guys get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly of this channel. And it's uncensored, of course. I'm trying to be... Okay, so the finishing gravity was 1.012, so that's good. So it is... so that's good. So 1.012. So it was definitely done fermenting. And I'm going to have to go in here and actually like write in all the tasting notes and everything like that. Because, man, all I know is I can at least pinpoint what went wrong. And it is 100% the temperature control.
Never had 2 beers in a row go bad. I mean, like, be wrong, be off.
Yeah, so, I mean...
It's got to be that, because it's the only thing that happened.
It's the only thing that happened. So...
That's so
wasted time, wasted money, wasted ingredients, wasted resources. That's what happens when you fail. But when you fail, you always learn something. And maybe you can learn from my mistakes. And so far, the only mistake that I can say that I've done on here is just bad fermentation control, temperature control anyways. So, meanwhile, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick both of these bad boys under pressure. I'm going to chill them and see if anything changes in a week. So, next week, I will do another taste test and see if anything's been improved. Unfortunately, I'm going to say that the Kolsch is probably a fail. But I'll still give it a week, put it under pressure, get it carbonated. Hopefully that'll help. And then... yeah, we'll try it again. Same with the stout. And then move on to the next beer, which I don't know which beer I'm going to do. I might have to redo the Kolsch. or the stout or something. Ah, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating, you guys. I'm masking it a little bit because I don't want to. Oh, it's so frustrating. But you got to see from start to finish the beers, so that's good. Well, I got to get going because I do have a good beer that's waiting for me, and it will be good. Live and learn. Never be afraid to fail, and don't let failure prevent you from experimenting in the future and improving upon what you learn. Take it as an opportunity for learning. You will be defeated if you let failure win. If you give up after you fail, then you've been defeated. But if you never give up, then you'll never, don't give up. That's all I have to say about that. Learn and never give up. But you guys are awesome. Easily Odd, thanks for jumping on. And all y'all, Madison Lanford, thanks for jumping on and following my channel. And thanks to everybody who did jump on and say hi on this stream. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully it was fun. I'm probably going to be brewing or doing something next week, my weekend, but it'll be in the middle of the week. But I'll let you know because I've got a lot going on. I'm trying to get the last summer events in before winter kicks our butt. So that's what's going on. Anyways, you all are awesome. And as I always like to say, be adventurous, stay thirsty, speak easy. I'll see you all.